What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Against All Odds podcast. I'm here with Elvis. Elvis, welcome.
Hey, thank you, Maddie. Thank you.
Of course. So
Thank
we'll
you.
roll the intro and then we'll get started. All right, Elvis, do you want to give me your full name, your position, and where you're born?
Okay, so my full name is Elvis Amoh, and then I was born in Italy.
In
Yeah,
in
in
it,
Italy. Yeah,
Italy.
yeah.
I thought you were born in Ghana.
I know that's shocking to everybody,
I
but
did
yeah,
not know that.
yeah.
Where in Italy?
So I was born in Vicenza. It's a place called Vicenza.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay. And how long did you live there before?
yeah. I didn't live there for long. My parents relocated back to Ghana, so I went to Ghana.
And why were they in Italy?
It's life. They just went to seek greener pastures and stuff. So and then we came in and then they had to just bring us back home and then go back there and work. So that
Uh-huh.
is how it worked. Not just me and all my siblings except for my bigger sister who was born back home.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. That threw me off. I did not know.
Yeah, nobody knows that.
That's funny.
Nobody
Do you have
knows
any
that.
memories at all of Italy or
Not really. I'm still yet to go back there because it's been a
uh,
while.
bro, Italy
Yeah.
is sick.
It's
It's like
been
one
a
of my
while.
favorite countries I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah.
You went there?
I went there back in like 2016.
Oh,
I was like
wow.
when I was playing in Germany. And
Mm,
then before I came back here to the US to play for
mm,
Orange County, I just did like a little vacation with my family. But
mm,
like I had no idea I was gonna even like
mm,
come here back to the US to
mm.
play. So then I only was with my family for like 2 or 3 days and then I had to go on trial.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it was really cool. I really
Yeah,
liked
I
it.
heard. I heard it's a nice place.
Yeah, it's not bad. But how was your like youth in Ghana and Accra? Because you lived in Accra, right?
Yeah, I lived in Kumasi very young and then I moved to Accra. And then later on, some years back, I moved back to Kumasi again and then
Mhm,
came back to Accra. So it was kind of like a back and forth between Kumasi and Accra.
mhm.
Yeah.
And was it fun? Did you enjoy it? Like, how's your family and everything?
Yeah, it was good. Like when I first went back to Ghana, my grandmother who was taking care of us because she was back home whilst my parents were like outside working and stuff. So she
Mhm,
was living in Kumasi. So almost me and all my siblings we were living in Kumasi until my parents decided to just move from Italy and come back home. So when they came back home, we lived for Kumasi. We lived in Kumasi for like maybe a year or two, and then we moved to Accra. So I lived most of my life in Accra.
mhm.
Yeah,
Okay. And did you just play, like, football from an early age?
yeah, for real. Like in Kumasi, we would just play on the
Mhm,
streets. I wasn't joined to like a team or stuff like that. But eventually, before we moved to Accra, you know, I started to recognize that hey, I have to join the team because when I join a team, I have the chance to play with like people that are better, not just
mhm,
playing at home and stuff. So I joined a team called Ora. It was called Ora. It was just like a neighborhood, team.
mhm.
And then we just started playing until we moved to Accra.
Okay. And how old were you when you moved to Accra?
I was like 7 years, seven
Okay,
years old. Yeah,
okay. And then
yeah.
so when you were just playing, like, there was no like, did you have training or drills, or it was just literally just play pickup and
No drills, bro. It was more like like friends. So we
Yeah.
just set up like two goals in the street. We just play after school till mommy says, "Hey, it's time to go home." Stuff like that. It wasn't like really organized
Yeah.
until later on when I was about to leave. You know, to go to Accra. That was when I started joining a team that was a little bit organized.
Mhm,
Not too organized, but they had a few cones where we would just run and play other, areas and stuff like that. So
mhm.
yeah, it wasn't too organized in the beginning.
And at that age, did you wanna become a professional footballer?
Yeah, from the onset, like right when I started playing, I just had it in mind that I want to be a pro. I want to be a
Mm.
pro. I want to be a pro.
Who was your, like, idol when you were that age?
At that age, to be honest, I didn't really have anybody in mind. It was like I would just go with the flow. Like, let's say there's a Champions League final,
Mhm,
and then there's this man. He was a teacher. He would just gather all the guys who wants to watch the game. He only had the TV around that area to be able to watch the game. So it was
mhm.
kind of like just going with the flow. I didn't really have like somebody that I was looking up to at that age. Actually, I was like, oh, I want to be in the Champions League. Oh, it's
Yeah.
nice out. It's a nice atmosphere. I want to be there.
Okay.
Because I
Gotcha.
didn't know much players. Yeah.
Mhm. That was very similar to that. I had no idea about European football. It was just for me, it was the MLS. That's all I like knew about. It's
Yeah.
funny. It's just like you're so like in your own world as a kid,
Yeah.
you know?
You don't even know anything, you know?
And then did your like siblings? Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I do have siblings. One plays, one doesn't play. He works, and then I have two sisters. So I have two
Mhm.
brothers and two sisters.
Are they all living in Accra right now?
No, so my two sisters, one is in the US here,
Mhm.
one is in the UK, and then my two brothers, one is playing in Zambia back in Africa, and then one is also here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, your family's all spread out, huh?
Yeah,
Do you
everywhere.
get like
Everywhere.
reunions where everybody comes back to like one
Y-
point?
Yeah, so we try as much as possible due to schedules and stuff, but
Mhm.
the recent one that we were able to meet was at my brother's wedding back home. So
Okay.
everybody was kind of like came from different places and we all met back home. It was nice.
Dang, that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's you guys are literally spread across the
Yeah.
entire globe. If you only had like a sibling that was in like Asia, then you'd
Yeah.
have like all everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. But that's it. I always find because like my family's spread out in the U.S.
Hmm.
but then we were pretty far. Like I'm on the East Coast, they're on the West Coast. I have
Hmm.
some Mimi's families in California, so we're kind of like all four corners of the United States.
Yeah.
But I always find like when you do get all together, it's so much fun
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's just like you just feel you're so isolated from them. Then when you get back, it's just like the best for like a weekend, whatever it is.
Yeah. You just cherish the moment, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you more like be grateful to see family. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so your brother's playing professionally in Zambia, you say?
Yeah. Yeah. He plays professionally in
Okay.
Zambia.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you, train with him a lot?
Yeah, we played together all the time. You know, he would help me out and stuff
Mhm,
with training. I'll also try as much as possible, but we just grew up playing
mhm,
together. So,
mhm.
you
How
know,
many hours a day do you think you played?
oh, so technically, like when I was in like primary school, so you go to school like let's say like 7, 8 a.m.
Mhm,
And you play in school a little bit, but you not really play at school. So when you get back home, you just undress, eat something, and then you off till the night,
mhm.
till it's dark.
Yeah, yeah.
We play till it's dark. So maybe like 3 or 4 hours, we just be on the street, just playing. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean,
yeah,
that's the one thing that kinda sucked in America is, like, I mean, you have all these great fields and all these, like, your
mm,
great stuff, but, like, a lot of the neighborhoods, a lot of the
mm,
kids, like, are playing basketball or
mm,
baseball or
yeah,
whatever, so it was fun, like, I had so much fun, but it was, like it was never just soccer. It was football, soccer, basketball, baseball, like, it
yeah.
just was everything.
It's a lot. It's a lot of sports, but back home is the normal thing that we all do is just play soccer.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm. And then so when you moved to Accra, you said you started joining more of a formal team?
yeah,
How
yeah.
and was this like an academy or what was it?
Yeah, it was an academy. It was like a area academy.
Mhm.
In Ghana, we call it coast football. That is what it's called. So U12, U15, and U17. So
Mhm.
in my area, there was one called Freedom Stars.
Mhm.
It was like a 10 minutes, walk from my house.
Mhm.
So that was when it all really started. Um, that was when I joined like a real team where they could, organize stuff like training wise, fitness wise, game wise, and
Mhm.
stuff. That is where it all started. And before that, I actually started doing those things in school actually too. Before I actually joined, the team,
Mhm.
because my school was very passionate about like grooming young kids playing against other schools and stuff. So
That's good.
yeah.
And so even before like 7 years old, you're like learning like you're training in a team environment, like starting to learn like more of
Yeah.
like the professionalism of the
Y- y-
sport?
Yeah, it was I think it was around like let's say 10, 10
Mhm.
around 10, 11. That was when like I really, felt that kind of professionalism where like you train with cones, you train like, being managed by the coach,
Mhm.
or you play here, try and see you in different positions and stuff like that. So
Did
yeah.
you always kinda like tend to be more of a striker?
No chance,
Yeah,
bro.
really?
No chance. Yeah. I remember at some point back in Kumasi, there was a time where my teacher he put me in the goal because there was nobody. He put me in the goal to be the goalie.
Mhm.
But yeah, growing up, I always had that, you know, form of an attacking midfielder within
Mhm,
me. Yeah, until I've been changed so many times back to defense, and then ended up as a striker.
mhm.
Yeah.
When did you think that, like, you kinda, like, really solidified as a striker?
I think I really solidified as a striker somewhere around when I was somewhere around 2012, 2011, around that time,
Okay.
where like I really started to.
Were you, like, 20 at that point?
Yeah, I was around
That's pretty
2012.
old.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty old. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because there was this coach. His name is Coach William. He was the coach for First Capital, Plus United back in Ghana.
Mhm,
So he and then one other coach called Coach Opele Boateng. So they kind of solidified me to be a striker because I always had been like an attacking mid.
mhm,
And so there was a time where they were trying me in different positions and they realized that, hey, the guy is good. He can play forward. He can hold up. He's skillful. So
mhm.
let's put him up there. And then it worked. So ever since that time, every coach that I fell into, every coach that coached me always placed me in their striking
Gotcha.
position. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times too, it's like you kinda get put there by one coach, you do well, and then another team will see you playing
Mhm,
striker and like, "Oh,
mhm.
yeah, we wanna
Yeah.
have you at striker."
Yeah.
It's like I almost like even for me, I was a winger in college,
Mm,
and then I played kind of reluctantly, played fullback because some
mm,
coach was like, "Oh, yeah, you'd be a good fullback."
mhm.
And then my whole career has just been fullback, fullback, fullback since then. But I like
Yeah.
it, but it's just
Yeah.
funny
Yeah.
how it kinda works that way. You kinda get pushed into the position that coaches see
Yeah.
that you are versus like what you always want, even though, kind of end up really enjoying whatever you play.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the times where we start, like we normally do not end there.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's only like a few people that will start as strikers and then end up as strikers through their entire career.
Mhm.
Mostly like you start somewhere and then you end up somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, and it's good
Yeah.
because I think you learn different parts of the game too. Because
Yeah.
like, if you're learning the attacking mid, then like, the runs that strikers make that you can play them in,
Yeah.
and you start
Yeah.
learning different positions, learning different parts of the field. It's just you learn and pick up different techniques. It's good. I think it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's good. It makes you more dynamic too.
Because even for
Yeah.
me, like, playing winger a lot, like, I knew what I wanted from my fullback. Like, when
Mm,
I was tucked in, I wanted him wide.
mm,
When I'm wide, I want him inside,
mm, mm,
not
mm.
crowding me when I'm going 1v1
Yeah.
sometimes, so
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
now you kinda learn.
Yeah.
Now I'm just, like, the best fullback with Prince, always help him out. That's why
Yeah.
he's doing so well is
Yeah.
because of me. So
I know. That's why he's doing so well. I mean, you guys have a good partnership, so it's all about understanding each other. So you
Mhm.
guys have it, you guys gonna blow up.
Yeah. It's just he just gets all the credit, I don't
Mm,
get much
I
credit.
know, right?
So you're in Accra, you're training, you're with some youth teams and really
Mm.
how often do you train with those teams?
So we usually do like maybe like 4 days a week and then play games on Saturdays.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. So you go to school, you come back from school, you change, you eat, you just go to the field,
Mhm.
train, get back home around like when it's dark. That's how we
Yeah.
used it when it's always dark. So we do that like 3 or 4 times in a week, and then
Mhm.
you play games on Saturday.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was really fun,
And then in the
really
off
fun.
days where you didn't have team training, were you just playing with your friends?
Yeah, but to be honest, we didn't really have like off days. Off
Mhm.
days, yeah, we just train as the weather goes and stuff. Because
Okay.
sometimes when it rains, it's really bad. You cannot really train. So
Mhm.
yeah.
How were, like, the facilities at this, like, place?
Yeah, they were, to be honest, like I sit back now, like even though it was not the best, I went back home last year and then I went to where I started,
Mhm.
and it looked like wow. I enjoyed it so much back then and
Mhm.
looking at it now it's like wow, but it were not that bad to be honest.
Mhm.
We didn't have a locker room or
Mhm.
anything like that, but it was like a school where like schools don't, operate on weekends.
Mhm.
So when they close is when we train during the week. And then on the weekends there's nobody in the school, so like the classrooms are turned into like quote unquote locker rooms
Mhm.
and stuff, so it was
Gotcha.
fun. Yeah, it was fun.
Okay. And then at this point, like, as you're improving, like, around your teenage years, did you play for it was the Freedom what was it called? Freedom
Freedom
FC?
Freedom FC, yeah, Freedom
Freedom
Stars.
FC. Were you with the Freedom Stars, like, the entire time? This from, like, 11 to 18 or
No, So what happened was, so I was with Freedom Stars until I went to junior high school,
Mhm.
and then I moved to another team. It was that team was more like a league ahead of us. They
Okay.
were doing pretty well, so I moved to that team. It was called Manchester. It's not too far away um, from where I used to live to as well. So I moved to that place, and then when I went to high school, I played in high school soccer a little bit. I kind of dipped in high school a little bit,
Mhm.
stopped playing for like a year or two, and then
Really?
yeah, because when I went to high school, like senior high school, the people that really knew me in back home, they were like, oh, he's a good player and stuff. But in high school you had seniors, and
Mhm.
the coaches had their own perspective, so I wasn't really playing.
Mhm.
So I was just kind of chill. I wasn't part of the school team for a while, until later on where they realized that I could play and that they added me. Even that, I didn't really play that much
Mm.
until I came back out of high school. That was when I really started coming out, because other coaches recognized me, in the professional level, in the professional way, other than the school
Mhm.
department stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's funny. There's not many people who take a year off like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't like a year of, I felt I wasn't like being included. I wasn't playing.
Mhm.
The coach did not select me. I mean, I would go for trial and stuff, but
Yeah.
he had his own, preferences. So if you are
Mhm.
not selected, if you are not part of the team, you can play. So it
Mhm.
was like, and you are in school. It's not like here, the school is like, I mean, it was basically like college. You travel, you leave from home, you're not home. So you travel like maybe eastern region of Ghana, western region of Ghana. So you're in school. It's like a boarding facility.
Mhm.
So if you're not playing, you might as well just do something else, just chill
Mhm.
until you get the chance to play.
Did you
Yeah.
play pickup at that time, or did
Yeah,
you?
yeah. I,
Okay.
I would do like, the house games
Yeah.
and
Yeah, yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's funny. I mean, that's what's hard about that. Like even in America for like high schools and stuff,
Yeah.
it's not like a club team where if the coach doesn't rate you or if he doesn't select you for the team, you can't just go to a different team, you know?
No,
Like if you're with the school, you're with that
you
school.
can't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, I've felt
Yeah.
that like there's good players in high school that I'm like, I don't, for whatever reason, he's just not in favor with the coach,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it's tough.
Yeah.
But like, it's good. Like a lot of players, sometimes if as soon as they get that first adversity, that first coach that doesn't rate them,
Mm.
then they quit or stop. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's good to just just realize that and have that belief that you're a good player and to keep on just.
Yeah. Just keep working, and
Mhm,
hopefully some other coach will recognize you and then give you the chance.
mhm. And then, how did you get your first professional opportunity?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was playing in a team called First Capital Plus. It was a Division 2 after high school.
Mhm. Okay, so you finished high
So
school
I, f-
then.
I finished high school. So in Division 2, this coach, there's this friend of mine that we used after high school. I was just like, I was not on the team, so we were
Mhm,
just playing around church games, area games, and stuff. So one guy saw me and he was like, "Hey, there's a trial going on somewhere. You want to go? You want to join?" I was like, "Sure, we can go try out, see
mhm,
what happens." So he invited me, so I went with him, and then we went for the trial. And the coach, his name is Isaac Opele Boatin. He saw me. He was like, "Hey, how old are you? Where did you play?" And I was like, "Oh, I just graduated from high school." And he was like, "Okay, we think you're good. You could be part of our team." So that was when it actually started. So that was when I really, really joined my first, like, let's say, quote unquote professional like
mhm.
team. It was called First Capital Plus.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you graduated high school, like, what was your plan? Did you have, like, a career path, or were you still set on, like, "I'm gonna be a professional footballer?"
Yeah, for real. So after high school, obviously my parents want me to go to school. They want me to,
Mhm,
continue with, university and college and stuff. So I stayed home for like a year. I was trying to go pro and stuff. It wasn't working. So I got enrolled in school, because
mhm,
if it's not working, then you have to start, something. So I started schooling it in Accra Polytechnic.
mhm,
So whilst I was in school, I was still playing around until that, trial came where I went. So even when I got signed with them, I was still in school.
mhm,
I mean, I was still in school, and combining both, it was not easy. It was a tough one.
mhm,
Yeah, because the schooling system in Ghana was not designed well enough to be able to combine that one and professional.
Mhm.
Like the design was not that great. You
Yeah.
would have to sacrifice one at some point. And so I was able to do it for like 2 or 3 years until, the time came where I had to just let it go.
Mhm. 2 or 3
Yeah.
years is a good amount of time, though. So
Yeah.
did you not get a degree then from
No,
that?
so I the funny thing is I had the chance to, get my degree
Mhm.
because I had only 1 year left and I had a few, courses that I had to finish. So within that year, the biggest club, I say the biggest club in Ghana, of course, because there are two, big clubs in Ghana. One
Mhm.
one is called House of Folk and one is called Kotoko. But because I played for Kotoko, I think it's the biggest club in Ghana.
Mhm.
They approach,
Of course.
of course, anybody watching is gonna argue if they
Uh-huh.
are phobia fans, right? So I got the opportunity to sign for them
Mhm.
whilst I was in my third year. So I
Mhm.
had to make that decision. Do I take that chance or graduate? And the system was not designed for me to do both,
Mhm.
So I had to pick, you know, to play professional and sign for the big club and then see what happens.
Mhm.
So I didn't graduate. I'm
Yeah.
still yet to go back and,
Me too,
and
me too.
finish. Yeah, I'm
It
still
is
yet to go back and grab that degree, but we'll see.
it's tough, I mean, being a student is full-time pretty much,
Yeah,
and then being obviously a professional footballer is
yeah,
full-time.
yeah.
So, like, to balance that anywhere, I mean, at one point, one's gonna have to give, and it's hard because, I mean, there's a lot of players, like, I was there too, where you're kinda going through this, and when you're 21 years old, around
Yeah.
there, you're like, "I can see both ways." It's like, which
Mm,
one do you go?
yeah,
But I think most guys that love football, you're like, "Okay, well, this is my shot. This is my one chance,"
yeah.
you know? And I even having Connor, I had Connor on the podcast last, and he was
Yo,
talking
that
about the
guy,
same thing.
that guy, huh?
You and Connor got a little beef going on.
I know, right? Oh, he's a great guy. He's just mad that I was standing behind him when he got injured.
Yeah. Okay,
He's
so
attributed that to me that I got him injured. I got him, but nah,
yeah,
I would
because
never get him injured.
that he said that was like the worst part, like worst moment of his career when he got injured. He said that you fouled him. You said that you went through his knee.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know what actually happened. It just like happened in a flash,
Hmm.
and I found myself like standing behind him, and I could see him in pain. So I was like, "Oh damn!"
Hmm. Did you
You know,
step on him when he was down there too?
no, 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 no. I was like, bro, I was in shock at that moment because
Yeah.
you could see he was in pain. So I just went towards him and I said, "Hey, sorry, man.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, I didn't mean to,
Did you
get you
listen to that
injured."
his podcast of that part where he's
Yeah, I
talking
I,
about you?
I listened to that part. Connor is a good guy. We just have that, vibe and just
Yeah.
just to create that, fun, thing in the locker room.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
know, I love it in the locker room because both of you are always at each other trying to get each other fined.
I know, right?
Today you
Yeah,
got
I
fined.
know for real.
Connor
Huh?
got fined like a couple days ago.
I know, yeah. It's
It's
just to create that, happy, fun environment in the
mhm,
locker room.
mhm. It's
I
good.
think,
It's
yeah,
really fun.
yeah.
But yeah, no, screw Connor. I don't want to talk about Connor anymore. So yeah, so you signed with this Division Two team
Yeah,
first,
first,
and this you're balancing school and football.
yeah.
Did you train like every single like is this team, would you consider like a semi-pro team, fully professional team? Were you training 5 days a week and games on the weekend? Like it was the season 10 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was, I would say it was considered as like say in America the chain of soccer is MLS, USL Championship, USL League One, and USL League Two, right?
Mhm,
So in Ghana we have the Premier League, the Division One, and then the Division Two.
mhm.
So maybe I would say I was in the USL League One.
Gotcha.
So considering that maybe it's like a full-time professional,
Mhm,
I would say. So we would train like from Monday to Friday and play games on Saturdays
mhm,
or Sundays, depending on when the schedule is. Sometimes even Wednesday games, depending
mhm,
on how the schedule is. So it was full time. Yeah, and I was trying to, balance. The good thing that helped me was we trained at night, not at night, but like towards like 4 o'clock, three
mhm,
o'clock
mhm,
around that time mostly. So I'd go to school like in the morning, like around 6:30. Try to finish class as much as early as possible. Even if the lecturer is there, I'll probably leave
mhm.
to be able to get to training on time and then train and then go back home. So that was my life for like 2 years,
So literally you'd
two or
leave
three
it from
years.
6 o'clock in the morning and you'd get home probably at like
8.
Yeah, 8
Yeah,
o'clock at night,
8 o'clock at night.
and
Yeah,
then you just probably have dinner, go to
bro.
maybe do a little bit of homework and then repeat.
That's it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was really tough. It was a
Mhm.
tough moment for me. Yeah, for real.
And then, what was the 2nd division team called?
It was called First Capital
First
Plus.
Capital Plus?
Yeah,
Okay, and then so you were with them for 2 years?
for 2.5
2 and
years,
a half years?
and then that was when after that last season I really did great. That last season, and then I got approached by that club. Yeah,
Kokoto?
Kotoko. Yeah, it's called Kotoko.
Kotoko.
Yeah, Kotoko. Yeah,
Kotoko.
yeah,
And Kotoko is, you said, the biggest team
yeah. It is the biggest team in Ghana.
in
I
Ghana.
don't care what anybody
I think
thinks.
I've seen, do they play it in, like, a huge stadium?
Yeah, they
It's
play
like
in the
40,000 people or something like
yeah,
that?
yeah, they play in the national, like the national stadium.
I
Yeah.
think when I was talking, I think when I was talking to Panine Boyake,
Oh,
he's from Ghana, and he
okay.
was telling me about that stadium. It's because it's like a lot of big events and games are held
Yeah,
there, right?
yeah, yeah. It hosts like
Mhm,
a lot of national games and stuff.
that's cool. That's good. Was it fun to
Yeah,
play in there?
yeah. It was tough, and I always say it was a big learning phase, for
Mhm,
me in my career because coming from a second division club to like a big club like Kumasi Asante Kotoko is huge. It never
mhm.
like it doesn't really happen often. So when I went there, it was like I was like a rookie to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a rookie to me because playing in second division, I mean, it's pro, but you don't get that much of pressure,
Mhm, mhm.
like playing for a team in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So it was a big learning phase for me. So many ups and downs, but it was really good for me. I'm glad I chose that path.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And so you said you got scouted from your, because you had a really good last season with Capital,
Yeah, yeah.
Plus,
I had a pretty
and
good
so they
season.
saw you and did they approached you to, like,
Yeah,
come there?
so they saw me. They saw a video of me playing,
Mhm,
and then the coach that I knew, the coach, the assistant coach, he saw my video and then he
mhm.
showed it to the team, and they were like, "Oh wow, this kid is pretty good. So we should
Gotcha.
bring him in for a trial."
Okay.
Actually, it was a trial.
Uh-huh.
Bring him in for a trial. We see him if he's good. We can give him a contract.
How long was your trial for?
My trial, I would say, was just for you know maybe like 2 months. I think.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
It's a
it
long
was it
time.
was a long time because the time I went for the trial, they were in preseason, but they were also in the tournament. So it was kind of like a lot of travels for them here and
Mhm,
there. So I would go, come back, go back, go, come back again with them. Yeah, but I always say that that contract that I had with Kotoko was like God given.
mhm.
Yeah, it was like God given, to be honest.
Yeah, 'cause, religion's a really big part of your life. I mean,
Yeah.
when I get into training sometimes, we got the, gospel music playing on the TV. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's how has that helped your career?
I would say like without God, I don't think my career would be where it is.
Mhm,
Yeah. From the onset, everything that has happened in my career, the good, the bad, the ugly, they've all been as a result of my faith.
mhm,
And I always agree to the fact that God has been the reason why I'm where I am.
mhm,
And I cannot say anything aside. He has been my helper, like in times of trouble, injuries, ups and downs. I remember there was a time that I was not playing in Kotoko at all. Like I was not even in the 18. I was stuck home training by myself sometimes and stuff. And it was a really difficult moment for me. And then for some reason, I got the chance to start a game because there was a new coach and he saw me. He was like, "Oh, this guy is good." Blah, blah, blah.
mhm,
And then right when I was about to get into the rhythm, I twisted my ankle so bad. So in those moments, that was when I really found faith that
mhm,
you know, in like family will be there, they would support you and stuff, but you find that peace and joy anytime you talk to God, and then you see that He has a plan and a perfect plan for you, you
mhm.
know.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge because, like you said, like, I always say that your professional career is a roller coaster of emotions, of
Mm,
highs, like the best highs in the world, but really, really low lows.
yeah.
And it's really important to find stuff that can help you in those low lows.
Mm,
and like you said, like, family is there as well and friends, but like whatever you can find to give you that inner strength to push through those lows
Mm,
is huge
yeah.
because so many players stop at a low and they never
Mm,
actually experience the highs,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So that's great. That's really good. And so you had this opportunity, went on trial. Were you nervous with Kotoko?
Yeah. It
Like, do you
was.
were you think because you went from basically a third tier team
Yeah.
now going in on trial with the biggest team in Ghana,
Yeah.
like that's a huge jump.
Yeah. It was really tough. Like, not like I was afraid, but it was like, do I make it?
Mhm.
What is it? What if I don't make it? I left school for this. Do I make it or not? So those are the things that was happening. But my first time I got there, they were training for a game, I think, because they had a game that weekend. So when I got there, I warmed up with them. But then, you know, you know how it works when a coach is preparing for a game.
Yeah.
That he would not, bring a trialist in to just, to play or analyze a trialist during
Mhm.
those moments. So I got there and then he was like, "This like, oh, that's the Elvis we're talking about." It's like, oh, let him wait because I have to, prepare this team for,
Mhm.
the weekend. So I was after warm up, I had to wait for like let's say 45 minutes because they were doing tactics.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
go here, you go there, and
With the
stuff
first team who's
with the
playing
first
it.
team.
Yeah.
And so after the tactics, he was like, "Okay, we will just play for let's say 10-15 minutes
Mhm.
just to see how the tactics work." And so they played for 10 minutes and I only had like 5 minutes to just play.
Mhm.
So he took one player and he said, "Okay, you go in. Let's see." You know. So my first like 5 minutes, my first touch was good, like my runs was good. And after the training, he was like, "Wow, where did you play?" I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I was just playing in the second division team, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "You're a very good potential. We'll see. We'll give you more trainings, more times, and we'll see what's gonna happen." And so he said they will be traveling, so I might have to go back and come back.
Mhm.
So on my way, because they were going for a preseason like tournament,
Mhm.
and they already planned everything. I was not included,
Yeah.
obviously. I just came by, so it's like you go home and then come back, and then we'll see how things will go. So they had to drop me off on their way to where they are going. So they dropped me off, and then this is why I say it was God. So they dropped me off. I was just getting ready to just get a bus and go back home.
Mhm.
And then I saw the team bus come back again. It's like, "Hey, let's go."
Really?
Yeah,
They turned
they
around?
turned around and came back
Uh-huh.
and they said, "Hey, let's go." So I was like, "Okay." So I went with them throughout the whole, trip. We played like two games, I think.
Mhm.
But I didn't play the first game. I played in the last game and then I think I had an assist. It was really nice. So that was when they began to, you know, um have more interest in signing me on the team. Yeah.
Why did they come back? Did you ever ask?
That's why I say that it has
Mhm.
been God from day one
Mhm.
because I'm still trying to figure out why did they turn back? Because
Mhm.
they already said I should go home. So why did they turn back? So I always say that my contract with Kotoko was God sent. It was just
Gotcha.
God.
I mean, that is very interesting, like,
Yeah.
just they drop you off, you're about to leave, and you just see the bus coming back. You're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy
Yeah.
how also too, like, your career is, like, kickstarted or, like, really explodes from these tiny little moments like
Yeah.
that, you
Yeah.
know? It's really, really crazy, and even like you said, like, it's so easy when you're in on trial to have one bad day and
Mm,
be shown the door,
mm,
or in that game to not get the assist,
yeah.
and then would you be signed? You
No.
don't know. So it's these tiny little moments that add up
Yeah.
to a contract, to your career, to
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then you obviously did well, and then they gave
Mhm.
you the contract.
Yeah.
What was it like when they told you that you're gonna be signing that? And how
Bro,
old were you at this point?
it's like 21, 22.
21, 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like 21, 22. Yeah. Bro, I don't know the joy, you know, the joy that I had. I was like thanking God, praising God. I was like, wow. I, I did because I used to see all these players on TV.
Mhm.
Like I used to watch their games on TV and stuff like that. So when I had the opportunity to be signed, it was like, wow. Like there was so much joy in me. And I think I missed one because that was not my first Premier League team that actually I went for a tryout. I
Mhm.
just remembered that. So prior to signing for Kotoko, I got invited as well. Because that season like I don't know, I wish I had that season back on tape
Yeah.
because I was so fast, so quick.
Mhm.
Like I was really good that season, and we played against a Premier League second side team.
Mhm.
And that day was, I said, I don't know what God did to me, bro. That day I was flying,
Little
flying,
extra juice in your coffee that
extra
morning.
juice. I was just flying in their defense,
Yeah.
taking them on, finishing, scoring. And then their coach, he was the coach of the first team, but he came to watch the game. Came to me and was like, yo, we need you in our team.
Mhm.
We really want you in our team. So the season was over. They were the first team that approached me. It's called Liberty Professionals.
Okay.
And the coach was George Lamte. So he invited me to the preseason. I was training with them. And then it was left with one person to make a decision on me. So we had a game in Tema. We played against a team called, I think, was it Tema Youth, I think.
Mhm.
And so after the game, the person that was supposed to make the decision was not really feeling it like that. It was kind of like, do we sign him? Nah. So he was kind of like pushing it back. And then the Kotoko one came in. So I was like,
Gotcha.
Kotoko is even bigger than, like, it's really bigger than your team.
Yeah.
So thank God, So those
Mhm.
little moments, those little moments,
Mhm.
I got it finally.
Yep, that's Gucci. Gucci's
Stop
saying hi.
Gucci,
You
Gucci,
got
hi.
Levi sitting out here, Gucci's coming in. No, I mean, that's really cool, but, like, I think it was a couple videos ago, I was, like, 4 or 5 videos ago where I
Yeah.
was talking about signing a pro contract, and, like, I was saying that it's not just like, "Oh, you come in, are you good enough? Boom, here you are, let's sign a contract." It's
Mm,
like steps,
yeah,
and all these steps have to
yeah,
be approved for you to get that
yeah,
contract.
yeah,
Like, even to get approved for a trial is a step.
yeah,
Your agent talking to the
mm,
coach liking you,
yeah,
needing the position. If they have 4 strikers, they're not gonna sign you.
yeah,
And then it's okay, the coach wants you. Is there the budget? Is there housing? Is the front office staff, are they gonna sign off?
yeah,
It's just like you have to have, like, all of these things be green lighted before
yeah,
you actually can put pen to paper.
yeah,
So, and that was one of those experiences where the
yeah,
coach really wants you,
yeah,
but for front office reasons or whatever the reasons are, it didn't work out.
yeah. The funny thing is, like, I was so down.
Mhm.
I didn't know what God was preparing for me. Like, I
Mhm.
was so down when I didn't get that contract from Liberty Professionals. I was like, this is my chance to make it to the Premier League. And this team is closer to my school, it's in Accra. Like
Mhm.
I can literally blend everything and finish school. But the last man to make the decision said no. So in my head, I was like, oh God.
Mhm.
But I didn't know what he was preparing for me. So that is why I always say that everything that has happened in my life and in my career, I owe it to God. Because like sometimes when things happen now, it takes me back to what happened, 5 years ago.
Mhm.
I was expecting this, I didn't get it, and he gave me even a bigger one later
Yep.
on. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I've had many moments that in my career where it's like I'm so disappointed about not making a team or
Mm.
getting turned down. And then the same thing. All of a sudden something else comes up and you're like, oh wow, this is like a crazy path I didn't even imagine.
Yeah.
And it's taken me, I did not imagine to be in Germany. I did not imagine to go to New Zealand or whatever. And it
Yeah.
just popped up like that.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool.
Yeah.
And then so how was that first season with Kotoko?
Yeah. The first season I had a debut, I scored. Um I had a few games. I wasn't a starter, obviously, because we had like a really good team,
Mhm.
like a very experienced, team that plays in African Champions League, players that have played in Europe and stuff. So I knew that I was not going to be a starter,
Mhm.
obviously, but I knew that I would get my chances here and there. So it was a good experience for me my first year.
Mhm.
The struggle was with my second year. That was when I really like struggled because in my head I was like, okay, I've been here for a year, so now this time around I'm fit enough, I'm well enough, I'm matured enough to play to be a starter.
Mhm.
But it wasn't happening like that too as well. So it was really tough for me in my second year in Kotoko.
Mhm. And then did you leave after that 2nd year? Did you
Yeah, so in my second year, towards the end, um, I got um, there was a team called West African Football Academy.
Mhm.
they were interested in a loan deal. So I took that chance. Obviously, it wasn't like a big club, but it was a place that would, help me develop as a player. They've had like developed great players in Ghana and even outside. So
Mhm.
it was a good opportunity for me. So I left Kotoko to go on loan to West Africa Football Academy.
Were they in the same league?
Yeah, they were in the
Okay.
same league. They were in the same league.
Mhm. And then how was that loan spell?
Yeah, I learned a lot from
Yeah.
there because everything they did there was more like advanced because they had like their own facility, they had training pitches, they had their own gym, like they had everything in place,
Mhm.
because it was handled by Feyenoord and then one of the Red Bull, they had that, connection. So everything there was professional.
That's cool.
Yeah, I learned a lot from there.
Mhm. Were you bummed at all, like, that you weren't with Kotoko and you were with a smaller team, or did you just see it as, like, an opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, obviously I fell down a little bit, but as I went there and then I saw like young people like me,
Mhm.
who have even traveled to like big clubs in Europe and back, just training there was a big boost for me. It was a learning phase for me to know that hey, if I do well, I can also get up there. So I took it as an opportunity for me. And looking back at how my life has been when I've lost something small and then I've got something big,
Mhm.
I knew that hey, God is still at work.
Mhm. How long were you with West African
Yeah, so it was
Academy?
a loan. It was a loan deal, so I
Mhm.
wasn't really with them for long. It was just till the end of the season. Yeah.
And did you re-sign with Kotoko
So
or
because I already had an one more year contract with Kotoko.
okay.
So even after the loan spell, I had
Mhm.
to go back to Kotoko.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And 3rd year, was the 3rd year better than the 2nd year or
So the third year is when I traveled.
okay.
Yeah, it was when I traveled. And I came to DC
Mhm.
to trial with DC United and to see what was up for me
Mhm.
outside Ghana, you
Yeah.
know. So I tried with DC, with the help of my family, obviously. Um, it didn't go as planned. In my head, I was like, no, I have to sign this contract because I need this contract. But
Mhm.
coaches see things differently, and I always say that everything happens, for a reason. Yeah, but there's so many things that I learned, during my trial with DC United.
Mhm. What was one of the things that you learned?
One thing that I learned was that um, you have to be dynamic
Mhm.
in accepting where the coach actually wants to use you. Because I remember I was doing well, to be honest. I played well. Like everybody knew that I could play in that level. But the coach asked me that, hey, can you play in attacking mid? But as as I don't know how to say it, as immature as I was,
Yeah.
I was like, nope, I'm a striker.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, I was like, I'm a striker, and then I don't know if I can. I don't think I can play in the middle, like you
Mhm.
know, because I came in as a striker. And then he said, "Oh, okay." So I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't get signed.
Mhm.
Because if I said yes, maybe it would have been a different story. Maybe they were looking for a midfielder instead of a striker. Maybe they had more strikers. Maybe they saw something that I was doing that could fit their midfield.
Mhm.
So that was one thing that I really learned. That hey, if a coach asks me, "Can you play here?" My question is that where you want to use me?
Yeah.
Okay, put me there.
Mhm. Exactly.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't,
Mhm.
then we just move forward.
I loved it when coaches asked me that, like, if I could play a different position, because I was
Mm,
like, "Oh," I just say up front, like, "Oh, no, I play right wing, but I can play there. I can go there. You can try me out there,
mm,
um, and we can see," because then you have no pressure of like,
yeah,
"Oh, yeah, any mistake you make, you're like, I don't this is not my position."
yeah,
And then so, like, I tell younger players, like, whether it's a trial or whether you're on a team, the most important thing is just to get on the field and
mm,
play. If
mm,
whatever it is, just play, get on the field. If you're attacking mid, left back, whatever, they can see your skills and see that if you're a good
yeah,
player all around, they know in the back of your head, oh yeah, this guy Elvis, he's a striker. I just want to see what he looks like in the attacking mid
yeah,
spot. And then if you're on the field playing, you never know what can happen, you know?
yeah. So that's one thing that I learned in that process. That hey, when a coach sees you better at a position and he wants to try you there,
Mhm.
just be open minded and let him try you. You'll never know.
Who set up that trial in DC?
Yeah. So there was this agent um, that I knew through my family,
Mhm.
and then he contacted this man called I forgot his name. Yeah, this his name. That's Bill Hamid's father.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, his dad. He contacted one of the coaches, and then they organized that trial.
Okay.
Mm, Yeah.
And at this point, did you have family in DC already?
Yeah, at that point, yeah, because my dad had already relocated here some years ago, so
Okay.
it was really helpful.
Mhm. Yeah, that's nice. That worked
Yeah,
out pretty well.
yeah,
Well, not really because they needed a sign there, but but so never mind.
yeah,
So after the trial, did you go back to Kotoko or did you go back to
yeah.
Africa?
So after the trial, it didn't work out, and then I was still trying to see if I could get another team to sign on, but it wasn't working.
In the
It,
MLS?
in the USL,
Mhm. Anywhere.
anywhere,
Mhm.
So I had this trial with Jacksonville
Armada?
Armada
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when they came in. Yeah, I went there, trained. That's the coach of Indy right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it didn't work out as well. So and then I went on a few combines. I went to North Carolina FC. It didn't work out. I went to Charlotte.
Mhm.
It didn't work out. So that was when I was like, okay, maybe it's not here. Maybe it's not in the US. So I got arranged to go back home and play with another, Ghana Premier League team called Colorado United.
Mhm.
So everything was settled. I had this manager who was helping me out in this moment. His name is Michael. So he was helping me out, to go back home, restart, and just play and see what happens. So everything was settled until there was like a problem back home where the league in Ghana was suspended because of some corruption issues. So I couldn't go back. So I had to stay,
Mhm.
so I had to stay. And then that was when my contract with Kotoko, ended.
Gotcha. How are
Yeah.
you feeling at this point? Because you've been now, like, you didn't get, like, the to really pan out it with Kotoko. You had to go on a whole bunch of trials. DC didn't work out, Jacksonville Armada, all this stuff. It's like it's honestly kinda like, fail, fail, fail. Were you feeling really down? Were you feeling like, "Oh, God's got this plan for me?" Like, what was your mindset?
Yeah. Like at that point, the human nature and then the fleshy nature began to, set in. Like,
Mhm,
is this really gonna work? Is this soccer? I mean, in those moments, it wasn't easy. You know, I'm not gonna say it was easy. It was not easy at all. Like, looking at the level that I played back home
mhm,
and coming here and not even making it to a USL team was like very, very depressing for me. It was a very big, you know, tough moment.
mhm,
I had to toughen up with the help, obviously, with the help of family to console and stuff. God played a major role in these moments, and I found myself more in those moments. One thing that I learned was that during my career path, I loved God. I was going to church and all that, but I realized that I was seeking God because of what I wanted from Him.
mhm,
But in those moments, I realized that I just needed God for my normal life. It's not even about soccer,
mhm,
for my general life. So in those moments, that was when I really found, God really well in my life and realized that, hey, if God does it for me, amen. But if He doesn't, it's His own, He has a plan,
mhm.
but it wasn't easy coming to that understanding. It
Yeah.
wasn't easy at all.
So you learn to, like, not, like, ask as much and just, like, almost accept, like, whatever
Whatever
comes.
He gives me, because He knows more, He sees better,
Mhm.
not how I see things, but how He sees things.
Awesome. And so did that, like, kind of, like, learning that mindset, did that put you, like, at ease for the next trials that came up?
Yeah, to be honest, it just kind of blossomed real quick because right when I was looking for something, then Europe came up,
Mhm,
then Czech Republic came up, then Cyprus came up.
mhm,
So right when I found, that moment, it started coming up.
mhm.
Yeah.
It's oh, there's a bug.
Ooh, he's finding the bug.
Yeah, he saw a bug, he's just trying to find it
He's
now.
right there. Go get it.
Go get it. Go get out of here. That's great. I mean, it is kind of funny. It's like you're in this moment and you're like, I've always found that when I've gone on trials and it didn't work, then I get cut or whatever, I put extra pressure on the next one, and then I
Mm,
start overthinking, and it's like I keep on going down, down, down
yeah,
mentally. And then
yeah,
after 4 or 5 trials, this one I'm like, I need this to work. I need it to work.
yeah,
And like you said, the moment you kind of take a step back and like, there's always another team. There's always other opportunities out there. I'll find my way. I just got to keep on doing what I can control, training, working
yeah,
hard, that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Then all of a sudden you get an opportunity and boom, you sign the contract,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know? And
yeah.
so Europe, how did Europe pop up for you?
Yeah,
And you've
so
named a few different countries because I only knew about Czech Republic. I didn't know about Cyprus or all this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So it was like a Premier League club. Their league is kind of different. They
Mhm.
have like in Cyprus, they have like two different places. You know where Apo Nicosia and stuff. Apo Nicosia, Apo. I forgot the names, but they play in Champions League and stuff.
Yeah.
But the other Cyprus, they are also a different Cyprus. That is where I went.
Okay.
So I mean, I try
Is it
out.
like a different island?
Yeah, I think it's the same. It's the same place, but then it's kind of divided. I don't know what it is,
Okay.
what the reason is, but it's kind of like a divided area, you
Mhm.
know. So I went there, tried, didn't sign, came back, and then the Czech Republic came in.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And how did the Czech Republic come in? And
yeah,
and then also Cyprus, I mean, you went all the way over to Europe now
yeah,
on a trial and it
yeah,
didn't work out.
yeah,
Mentally, are you better now because you've learned
yeah.
to accept everything, or like how are you feeling?
Yeah, to be honest, the Cyprus one was not depressing at all. Like I was
Because
just,
of the mindset shift?
yeah, I was just normal
Mhm,
with the Cyprus, whatever happened. I wasn't really like, curious to sign. Oh, I have to sign this contract like before.
mhm.
I was kind of like normal because of the understanding that came in. Like, okay, hey, whatever happens, if you have your trust in God, He has a plan, and so just take it that way. It
Mhm.
wasn't too much pressure. Ooh.
The cats this podcast are going crazy. And I think, I mean, that's good because it's like it's hard not to feel like a failure when you don't get accepted for a trial.
Yeah.
But like we've talked about, there's so many things that need to go the right way,
Mm.
whether that's the budget of the team, whether that's, the
Yeah,
amount of
like you said,
foreigners they
yeah.
have. It's just it's
is,
Levi, can
is
you
it
get down?
is it looking for the bug?
I don't know. Yeah, I think so. But I mean, so again, so it's like it's not working out, but it's better now that you got this mindset of like, okay, it's not going to affect me. I'm just going to keep on working, keep plugging away. And how did Czech Republic come from? Was it from Cyprus or was it from an agent?
Yeah, so the good thing is when I went to Cyprus, the agent that took me to Cyprus also knew another agent who was in Czech Republic, who also worked in Czech Republic.
Hmm.
So right when I came back, they used to work together. He also connected him to me, and then the Czech Republic came in.
Gotcha. And what city was this in the Czech Republic?
I was in Bruno,
Brno.
Bruno, yeah,
Okay. I've been to Prague,
Prague,
but that's it. Just real quick for like 3 days. That was
yeah,
it.
yeah,
How was that?
yeah. That was so. With them, I signed.
Mm,
It worked out. By God's grace, it worked out. And then the season was about to end, so it was like a half year
hmm
with them. But it was a good experience for me. Their league is top level,
hmm
very aggressive, um, very intense. Yeah, their mentality is like playing in the championship in EPL. It's
hmm
very clustered, very a little bit of technique, but mostly aggressive. So it was a good, learning phase, good experience for me in
hmm
Czech as well.
And then so now, I mean, over the last like 12 months at this point, you've played in Africa, you've played with teams in the United States, ranging from MLS down to USL, and now Cyprus, and then also Czech
Czech Republic.
Republic.
Yeah.
What like is there a difference of the style? Like you kind of already talked about it with Czech Republic, but is
Yeah.
there more of differences that you noticed, or was it all at the end of the day? Was it like football's football,
Yeah.
or did each country like have a different way of style of play? Like how was that?
Yeah. Um, every continent or every country that I played
Hmm.
had, their own different form of how they approach games. Yeah, like back home, how we approach games is not the same as how we approach games in the USL. And in Europe, Czech Republic, how they approach games is not the same as how we approach games in the USL.
What's the difference between Africa and here?
Africa, the difference is we don't, they don't give you many details as much.
Like, tactically?
Like tactically, yeah,
Mhm,
they don't give many details as much. But here you get more details on each player scouting and all those stuff.
mhm,
Yeah, that's one of the difference. And technically and you know and physically wise, back home is very, very aggressive, very fast. Everyone is fast.
mhm, mhm.
Even the goalie. Everyone is fast. And so it's kind of like you have to think quick.
Mhm,
Like you don't
mhm,
have time at all. I know we don't have time here sometimes in games, but it's a tactical game here.
mhm,
Like, you know, if you're not supposed to press and you press, the other team will counter through your press, or the other team will use your lapses to get you.
mhm.
But back home, it's not much of technical. It's much more of work. They will just
Gotcha.
outwork you and finish you up.
And then you said Croatia was very aggressive?
Czech
Or sorry,
Republic,
yeah, Czech
Czech.
Republic?
Yeah. So they were very aggressive.
Mhm.
Like in that division,
Yeah.
in that particular division, it was an aggressive, you know, game every time. Every
Mhm,
game was a final because everybody wants to get promoted.
mhm.
So that was the kind of feeling I was getting from Czech Republic. The ball
Okay.
could hang in the air for like boom, boom, boom,
Mhm.
those stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cool, and then so you, how was playing, like, European football at this point? Because I mean, this team, was it in
Third
like, the
third
top
third division, SK Leeson.
SK
It's called
Leeson?
SK Leeson. Yeah.
Okay.
It was in the
And
third
so, I
division.
mean, like, when you're playing lower leagues Europe, like, I've played lower leagues over in Germany,
Mm,
it's a grind. Like you kinda mentioned, it's a lot of times it's not the most skilled, but, like, it's guys that with promotion relegation,
yeah.
grinding,
Yeah.
competing, doing all this stuff. It's gritty, and like you said, like, on the ball kinda going bing, bing, bing. It's tough,
Yeah,
but, like, did you enjoy it, or what were your
yeah,
thoughts about it?
it was I mean, the beginning, I was like, "This is not football.
Mhm,
What are we doing?" Like, as a forward, right? You want to be able to see the ball and, get a touch, run into space, get it finished.
mhm,
But, now it's like, as a forward, you have to just find a way to score.
mhm,
You don't have to, like, be waiting till you get the ball from your midfielders or, from the defense. You just gotta be grinding to get the goal.
mhm,
Like, you can basically go get the ball from the wide area, just try to dribble and try to finish by yourself. Like you said, technical wise was not high.
mhm,
It was just hard work, running, hard work and stuff. Yeah.
mhm. And then did you want to resign there after that season, or what were you looking to do afterwards?
Yeah. After that season, obviously I was looking forward to resign. So I had to come back to the US because the season was over and go back.
Mhm,
But when I came in, during my time in DC United, I met Ryan Martin,
mhm,
and then Nate Kish. Yeah, they were also with the DC United Academy, so I had a good relationship with them. So when I came back and they realized that I was back, hey, they were like, "Oh, DC United has a new team, a USL team, which is Loudon
mhm,
United. So would you be interested? Would you mind?" And at that point, I was like, "Okay, I'm a little settled here in the US and stuff." So I was like,
mhm,
"Okay, let me just give that one a shot." And that was when I signed with Loudon United. So my idea was to go back, but when I got that one, I felt like that would be more, settling for me.
mhm. 'Cause it's like you got family in the
Yeah,
area
you know,
and everything.
yeah.
And what year did you sign with Loudon?
I signed with Loudon in 2019 because the time I came back, the season had already like started. They were
Okay.
already kicked off. So late, very late, 2019.
And it's hard too, because when you go from, like, Europe to America and the different seasons and everything,
Yeah,
like, people like, I always get asked, like, in our off season, like, "Oh, you should go sign with a European team or
I
something,
know,
try to do that."
right?
I'm like, "Well, it's December.
I
It's
know, right?
mid-season in
You're
Europe."
already in the middle.
'Cause
So
you finished season in probably, like, May or June,
yeah.
and then you came over to Loudon. Is that when you signed, like,
N-
mid-season like that, or was it
No,
earlier?
so because of the visa I had to come back and go back.
Mm,
but it was towards the end of the season in Czech Republic. So when I came back, that was when Nate and Ryan, approached me with that, and I was like, "Do I go back or
mhm,
do I stay?" So that's when I stayed.
gotcha. How was your experience with Loudon?
Yeah, the first year was good. They had a good team, a lot of good players in the first year, and then in the second year, obviously COVID season, most of the players left, and then it was also a new team with a young team.
Mhm.
So it was more of a developing, team that had very, very young players, but really good.
Did you when you signed with Loudon, did you sign, like, the rest of that season and the next year, or was it just a one-year deal?
Yeah, so I signed to the end, and then I re-signed with them for the 2020 season.
Mhm. And then when you were with Kotoko, even back then, did you
Mm,
sign, like, the three-year deal?
yeah, with the Kotoko it was a three
Okay,
year
so you
deal.
signed the three-year deal, and then after that, was it all just 1 year, 1 year, 1 year
Yeah,
pretty
after
much?
that it's been like a 1 year, 1 year, 1 year.
Because that's
Yeah.
a hard thing too with, like, the level that we're at or below where we're at.
Mm,
It's a lot of 9-month contracts,
yeah, it's a
and
lot
it's
of them.
it's really hard. It's
Yeah,
really hard because you have to get into a completely new team, new coach, new setup,
yeah.
and find success early to prove yourself, and if you don't, then it's like, "Okay,
You
find
out.
another one."
Yeah,
And you can get in that cycle of, like,
yeah,
trialing and going all around.
yeah, yeah,
But that's good, so you had a good year with Loudon then to re-sign for
yeah,
that 2nd year,
yeah,
but COVID year was always
yeah. It
tough.
was COVID year was a tough one. Yeah, it was really tough.
But it
You
sounds
have
like you had a lot of family in the area, which must have been nice.
Yeah, I mean, I had family around that area and even friends around that area. So it was pretty good for me. My first year, towards the end, I came in, scored on my debut. Like it was good. And in 2020, obviously everybody was hit by COVID. So the season was not, like how it was supposed to be.
Mhm.
I had to play hard for like 7 times.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but even in that moment, I was still, by God's grace, I was still able to get some good numbers. That was
Mhm,
when I then moved to RGV
mhm.
in 2021.
And how did that move come about? How was that because you wanted it? Did your agent just set you up? Were you out of contract and you're
Mm.
kinda desperate, or what happened?
Yeah, so with after the COVID season, I already obviously I had, let's say, played with Loudon for 1.5 years. So I was looking for something new,
Mhm,
and then RGV showed interest, because I had not the best of seasons, but I had a decent season. I scored like I think 6 or 7 goals, playing sometimes as a midfielder, as a 10,
mhm.
and then as a 9 as well. So
So you learned to play
I
that
le-
attacking mid
yeah,
position.
yeah, because I didn't want to make that mistake again
Yeah.
after that one. But yeah, so I signed with RGV through an agent.
Mhm. Um, did you like moving to a new place? Was that exciting at this point? Or were you sad more to leave, like, your family in the DC area?
Yeah, in the beginning it was kind of, you know, tough, but then, as time went by, you know that hey, this is work and
Mhm,
this is what I want. This is what I've been looking for, for a while now. So it was like in the beginning it was tough, but you know, everybody kind of understood the job, and
mhm,
not just me, my family understood that hey, he had to do. I mean, I have to do what I have to do. So moving to a new place, Texas, I've never been there. It was fun.
mhm.
It was fun.
And
Yeah.
it's interesting too because everywhere that you go is just so different, obviously,
Yeah.
with cities that you go, and it's really cool
Yeah.
as a footballer that you get to experience so much
Yeah.
and see so much. But, like, it's just funny to go from, like, 1 year, you're Czech Republic, then boom, now you're in DC, and then boom, now you're in a McAllen, Texas.
Yeah.
It's just such different, like, cities and places to live.
Yeah, yeah. It's I always say it's kind of like good experiences,
Mhm,
not easy moving, obviously, but good experiences that you get. Meet different people,
mhm,
how they do things and stuff. Like I realized that McAllen has a lot of like Spanish
mhm,
vibe next to Mexico.
mhm.
So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It
Yeah.
was a good experience.
Were you was it 2021 where when we played you with FC no, 2021. Yeah, wait, was it with that game when we came in with FC Tulsa and the hurricane had came just before the game, and there was mosquitoes, like, everywhere?
Was it 2021?
I think it was either 2021 or 2020, I can't
Maybe it
remember.
was 2020.
Might have been
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other time, I think in 2020 as well, we played and we finished the game at, like, 3 AM because of lightning.
Yeah. The
That was
lightning when it
terrible.
happens there is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
insane. And how did that season, like, go for you, like, individually?
Yeah, individually, I think it was one of my good seasons that I've had in my career.
Mhm,
Yeah, obviously there were injuries that took me out for like 8 games
mhm.
streak, but
What was it?
so I think I got injured when we're playing against San Antonio.
Uh-huh.
In San Antonio. I broke a little bone around my ankle, so
Mhm,
I was out for like 8 games. But then after that, everything was really good.
mhm,
Everything was really good. I got some goals, some assists, and the team made it to the playoffs.
mhm.
We beat Phoenix, made it to the semis and lost. So it was a good year for me.
Yeah, I was watching that game when you guys beat Phoenix.
Oh yeah,
That was a good game.
that was a tough one. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Guys grinded out that
yeah,
win.
it was a tough one.
Yeah. Did you and then after the year again, after the season, it's like, again, you were on a one-year deal,
Yeah.
and then you had another move
Hmm.
for 2022.
Yeah.
What happened with that offseason?
Yeah. So that off season, obviously, after every season, there's things that go on behind the scenes that obviously people don't really know.
Mhm,
So I mean, after the season, I had a good season. RGV wanted me back and stuff, but at the end of the day, like when there's no agreement um between the player, the agent, the coaches, and the team and the club and stuff, it's just hard to come into a final decision and say, okay, you stay.
mhm,
But when the players does well and there are other offers also on the table and
mhm,
stuff like that, you have to now sit down, not just you, like family, parents, make a good decision and see where is best, and obviously consult God to
mhm.
find out what is actually good for you, what is better for you. So that was kind of what happened in the off season with RGV.
Mhm. Like I was saying, it's people I think on the outside that don't understand football or professional football or how the business works. They have a very oversimplified idea of how it goes in the offseason of signing a contract. They kind of only assume money or just going to like, a better team. But
Mhm.
there's like also like the city, if it's right for your family. Money obviously is an important part
Yeah.
too, but, like, there's so many other factors and variables, even the coach. Do you vibe with the coach? Are you feeling the coach like you like his tactics that he's talking
Yeah.
about with you?
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, coaches will ask other teammates and players who have played with you if you are a
Mhm.
nice guy,
Yeah.
if you can fit with the locker room, and there's just so many things that go into it and making a decision. It's like you have to really, like you say, weigh all the pros and cons and all the options,
Yeah.
and so that's happened in that offseason,
Yeah.
and where did you sign for 2022?
So 2022, I signed with Colorado
Mhm.
Switchbacks um, for the 2022 season. So
And that again, another huge difference. McAllen,
yeah,
Texas now to Colorado Springs.
yeah, yeah. Another huge, big move for me because I knew Brandon.
Mhm.
He was one of the coaches for Philadelphia Union. I didn't mention that I went to trial over
That's the
there,
thing too on these, like,
but
we
sometimes I even forget.
I mean, we only talk, like, for these podcasts are, like, an hour and a half, 2 hours, but, like, there's so many other trials and stuff that happens that you can't talk about everything.
Yeah,
So you went on another trial in Philadelphia
yeah.
Union,
I
you
went to
met
Philadelphia.
Brendan.
Yeah, that's when I met Brandon. So he already knew me,
Mhm,
and so he was interested, and then we just had a good conversation, and then that was it.
mhm, and signed there, and I mean, Colorado Springs, this was that their first year with the new stadium, or had they played in that the year
I
before?
think the year before they played in that stadium. Yeah,
Uh-huh. How was that experience playing with Colorado Springs?
yeah. It was really good because we had really good team.
Yeah.
Like we had a very good team,
Yeah, you guys
very good
were,
players.
I thought, the most dynamic team
Yeah, it was.
last year, like,
Yeah,
or 2 years ago. What was this? Oh, you
Yeah,
played for 2022.
2022. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
last
last
year.
year, yeah, we had a really good team, and the experience was very nice. We made it to the final
Mhm,
in our conference, so it was a good experience. Playing with like good players, Michi, Haji,
mhm,
Cam, and all these guys. It was just amazing.
mhm.
Yeah, it was just amazing.
And then how was the weather, though?
Oh man,
'Cause
yo,
I'm assuming that that's probably I don't know, maybe Czech Republic was cold, but was this the coldest place that you had lived?
yo, it was so cold. It was really cold. Yeah, and Colorado was really
Do
cold.
you like the snow?
I like it for like 2 hours, and then I wish it disappears after 2 hours, but it's impossible.
Mhm.
But I mean, it was nice. Yeah, but it was very cold. It
Yeah.
was always cold. Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, Colorado Springs, is great setup, great
yeah,
organization. It
yeah.
just looked really good, and you had a really good season as well that year, I thought.
Yeah, that season, oh, we had like Michi, we had Haji, we had Cam, we had an outback Hajimi, and all these guys. It was just nice.
Mhm,
It was just nice playing with like really good players. It's just they make the game easy for you sometimes.
mhm.
Like Michi has the ball on the line. It's like just get in the box. He's getting it to you for sure.
Yeah,
And Haji, obviously, one of the best in the league, it was very good. It
yeah.
was really good.
And then after that season, you made another move,
Hmm.
and then to Hartford.
Yeah.
Did you what was happened this offseason? How'd you end up here?
Yeah, like I said earlier on, like so many things go on in the off season where like sometimes it's even just change of coaches,
Mhm,
coaches moving here and there, like family wise, obviously you want to be in a position where you're comfortable mentally, to play and stuff like that. In my head, obviously, I thought I was going back, but in the off season, so many things go on. Coaches move, players move, new takeovers, owners, decisions that you have to make not just for yourself, but for your family and
mhm,
and and stuff like that. So yeah, Tap came in as a new, Hartford coach. He has a good relationship with Brandon. Um, Haji left, Michi left. Colorado is looking to form another new, dynamic forwards, and you know, their decision was not just to let me go or stuff like that, but it was also how Hartford also needed to push for, a player that they actually really want.
mhm,
And so it was all down, not 100% on me, but mostly on me to agree if I want to also make that move. And there were so many things I had to pray about it. I had to seek the face of God to see which is actually good, for me and then the family as well. So agent brought it in, had a few conversations here and there, and then Brandon actually left Colorado Springs. So
mhm,
it was like, okay, um, Hartford would be a great fit, for me as well. So
mhm.
made that decision to come to Hartford.
How was your transition into Hartford?
Um, it was pretty easy because I'm closer to Hartford because I live in the DC area. So
Mhm.
it was not that much of a big,
'Cause it's like 5 hours?
yeah, it's like 5.5 hours. So
Mhm.
it wasn't that much of a big, struggle, moving in.
And you started off, with a great few games at the beginning, and then ended up with a hamstring injury,
Yeah.
but you're back now,
Mhm.
scored a penalty, call you pelvis. But how have you been finding the games here, scoring? Are you excited to be back? Like, how's this season been so far?
Yeah, I'm just grateful to God that I always say, we started pretty, rough in our first game, and I feel like our schedule has played a big, like big impact on our team.
Mhm.
But then it's not an excuse. Of course, we played as at the time we've played 8 games, we had like 6 away games,
Yeah.
5 in the West.
Yeah, 5 yeah, so many times to the
So
West Coast.
so it was a tough, moment for us. And then I got injured, against Charleston,
Mhm.
and then I had to stay out the game for a while, and it was tough, and then the team was not really getting the result that we actually deserved,
Mhm.
even in the games, so many ups and downs. But thank God we are back on our feet. We won the game, and it's a good feeling to be
Mhm.
back. I'm grateful for that.
Got a big game in 2 days against Sacramento. Be
Mm,
tough. They're a really good side.
yeah,
But yeah, no, now we're just in the thick of the season. So that brings us up to today.
yeah.
Now, before we end, I always have a few questions to like sum up your career and
Mm,
everything. The first is what do you think is the absolute best moment of your career? Like we talked about the highs and lows, the
mm.
highest high of your career.
The highest of my career. Uh, uh, I would say like uh, what when I signed for Kotoko.
Mhm.
I think because I was so young, like it was such a big deal for me back home
Mhm.
because I was so young, and like I had not tasted like professional Premier League environment. So I think that was really like a big moment, for me in my career. I could say that.
Mhm. And I think it's always cool too to basically be signing with a league that you've been watching on TV.
Yeah.
It means a lot,
Yeah.
it's a lot versus like even I mean, it's really exciting to go abroad and play in different
Mm,
countries, but
yeah.
most likely you didn't grow up watching the USL Championship, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's really
Yeah.
cool. And then on the flip side, what do you think has been the absolute lowest low of your career?
Lowest low. I mean injuries, but I'm trying to think which one that took me out for
It's
long.
usually always an injury. It's hard.
Yeah. I would say when I got injured in RGV, you know, it was a tough moment for me because that was my longest term staying out of the game through
Mhm.
injury. So it was a very difficult moment for me. And also the fact that I was really doing well when I was playing, to be out for
Mhm.
like 8 weeks to 9 weeks was a really tough moment for me.
What did you do during that time to help you mentally?
Mentally, like obviously I had family supporting, but then I will always go to God for questions. I will always go to God for answers that I was not getting from anyone,
Mhm.
and I'll always try to pray, read my Bible, and seek the face of God in those moments of my life.
Mhm. It's funny too, I think when you go through those, like, in the moment, it feels, like, so terrible and it goes on forever, but then when
Yeah,
you look back at your whole career,
yeah,
like, it's just a really quick
yeah,
moment, you know? And so a lot of times when I get injured, I always think that, like, it fast forward 3 years from now, it's gonna be a really quick moment again.
yeah,
And so, I mean, because you said it was 8 weeks?
yeah,
That's not that 8 weeks goes by pretty quick
yeah,
in the long span of your
yeah.
career.
And I feel like the reason why it was long is because I was doing so well in the
Mhm,
beginning of the season, like scoring every game, and then boom,
mhm.
it's like a big, setback.
Yeah, it's
You
tough.
know.
It's tough. And then the final question that I have is basically what piece of advice would you give to younger Elvis? And when would you go back? Like if you had a time machine,
Mm,
when would you go back?
mm,
And what period would you go to? How old would younger Elvis be? And what would you tell younger Elvis?
mm. When would I go back? I would say I would go back to when I had a shot with an MLS club. What I
Philadelphia Union or DC United?
DC United.
Okay.
I think one thing I'll tell myself, not even because I've always been a hard working person, but one thing that like I said earlier, one thing that I would tell, the younger Elvis is, you know, recognize opportunities and make use of them. Recognizing that opportunity and making like use of them, not taking any chance at all, thinking, oh, maybe next time I might get a chance.
Mhm.
That is what I'll tell myself.
Mhm. I like that. Like,
Yeah,
it's take every little moment, like,
yeah,
very seriously because
yeah.
you don't know
You don't
if
know.
that's your last opportunity.
Maybe
Yeah.
ever since I've not gotten any MLS shot.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That is the biggest advice I'll give myself.
Yeah, I really like that. And then anything else that you wanna say to the podcast? Anything, any story we didn't cover, anything that you, like, really are like, "Oh, I wanna talk about this?"
Oh, I think we covered everything. All I I'm all I'll say is, hey, faith is very important in everybody's life. And then if you're going through any tough moments, like how Matt Sheldon has always been talking about, like how anybody who is a pro will come here and talk about their lowest moments, try to find faith in God. Yeah, believe in Jesus. And I know that He will direct your path in a way where you will look back and, like how Matt said, it will be like a flash.
Mhm.
You look back at it and be like, wow, so just have faith in God, keep working hard, and stay focused.
Love that, because obviously, your religion has had such a positive impact on your life and your
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
So that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Elvis. I really appreciate your time. Means a lot. And I'm excited for tomorrow to maybe find you, meg you, whatever.
Oh man, it's always a pleasure. It was an honor to come to the house and then the studios of the legend, Matt Sheldon.
All right.
It
Well,
was a
thank you so
pleasure, bro.
much.